everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Raw Take. I am your main host, Brooke, and I'm here repping for the Cup, talking about some wrestling. And you're here on the Cup Ringside, where you have the best ringside seat for all your wrestling content in the planet, mostly WWE focused. But hey, sometimes we talk about other stuff on rare occasions. Uh, and if you want to hear more of our stuff in the future, go ahead and give us a subscribe, punch that notification bell down below. And if you want to check out any of our other channels covering Drag Race, covering Eurovision Song Contest, covering reality TV in general, go ahead and check us out over on the Cup of Reality, the Cup ESC, and the Cup TV, respectively. All those links are going to be in the description down below for you all. Uh, so today we're talking about the April 22nd edition of Monday Night Raw, which was an episode of Raw. An episode of Raw. I'll just put it like that. I think it was good. I don't think it was as good as last week, but my opinion. Uh, but I am drinking water out of my Carowinds mug. But if I was drinking anything that wasn't water, I would drink it out of my cup mug. Ooh, cup mug. And you can get your cup mug and other cup merch at larnagecreations.etsy.com. Currently only shipping domestically in North America, but we will be shipping internationally soon, so keep your eyes out if you are outside of North America.
Yep, and being joined is me. Hi, you know what it is. It's Wes. I am still here to talk about some wrestling, and of course Raw. A lot to talk about, so let's get straight into it.
Yeah, so we're coming off the heels of, a pretty important edition of Monday Night Raw to me was it the 15th last week? Getting a lot of character development. First off, you get the Chad Gable heel turn after that incredible IC title match he had with Zayn. Rhea Ripley's no longer women's world champ after her injury. We're seeing a lot of development going on there. Judgment Day's having some interesting stuff. We saw the return of Sheamus last week. So a lot of fallout dealing with all of that. Also, the Ricochet, Andrade, Judgment Day stuff is still going on as of this week. So a lot of stuff. But first off, Jey Uso and Damian Priest open us up this week with a huge, basically the start of the story between the two of them going into Backlash in a few weeks, which is actually a week from Saturday, which I didn't realize it was so close. But to me, great segment to start this feud. I think both of these two cut really solid. I cut a really solid promo between the two of them.
Yeah, I have been enjoying El Campeon, Damian Priest. We're starting to see even more changes from him. Of course, it's been since he gained the title, he's been showing off a little bit of change to his character, but we see even more of that here. There's a level of confidence being exuded by Damian that he's never shown before, and he has that new attitude of take it or leave it, I'm the best. And of course, we get Jay, we get Pat McAfee, we get the whole, the hand raising, the Yeet Nation backing Jey Uso coming into Backlash, and it was a good teaser into what we're going to get, right? That's what we wanted. That's what we're going to see. Of course, JD makes a little small appearance and gets Damian Priest's bell rung for his troubles.
Disregarding the JD McDonough of it all, the actual promo here between the two of them, not to go too in depth on it, because it's not what we're here for. If you want to watch that, go watch Raw. We're just here to give our thoughts and give you a quick little rundown. I think it was really interesting because it wasn't the story I thought they were going to tell. I didn't think this was going to be the story of, yo, dude, I've been a tag team guy for a while. You've been a tag team guy your entire life, but guess what? I'm the one that won the belt, not you. I thought that's where they were going to go with it. But instead, it was more of there's mutual respect here, but I'm the guy on top, and you're just going to have to deal with that because I'm not losing the belt anytime soon. Whereas Jay's like, yo, the only reason you're even in charge of your group is because mommy got hurt. I think the two of them are actually going to have a really interesting match at Backlash. I don't see this feud going past that because I think both of these two have more in the cards. I think maybe one more, maybe King of the Ring, max. But I think both of these two really could have a really solid match in a few weeks in France, and I hope that they do because it's going to be nice having a World Heavyweight Championship match that doesn't have Seth Rollins in it. No offense to Seth Rollins, because when you have the same person hold the belt for so long, you're just like, oh, it's a World Heavyweight title match. Seth Rollins defending against insert person here. There is a certain expectation that comes with that. This open field, so we're really going to see what's going to come with it.
Yep, and of course, we expect just with JD appearing now and probably at Backlash, we can expect some Judgment Day tomfoolery. But we do have to point out with Dom's injury and Rhea's injury, the Judgment Day is in a very vulnerable place. So Damian Priest has been having this "it's my way or the highway" attitude. Well, he's definitely, I think, going to have to back it up in 2 weeks, because his friends are getting injured and his friends are farther and farther away from him. So we're going to have to see what happens. But, of course, it was a good promo, right? It was a good promo, good beginning.
And on the subject of that, I feel like we can go ahead and skip ahead. It's not very far in the show, but it is something that is kind of relevant right now. Dominic Mysterio is currently injured. He is still appearing on TV, so I'm assuming it's not going to be anything major. Arm is currently in a cast. Apparently, he got that injury last week. Not sure the extent of that at the moment. I hope it's not anything serious, because I need heel Dominic on my television. But, well, I need Dominic on my television. We'll talk about that. But I hope he's on the mend, too, because, we already lost Rhea. We don't need to lose another member of Judgment Day. I don't think we need to lose Rhea to begin with, but we take what we can get. And right now, 1 down is bad. 2 down would be awful. So let's keep it where we're at. Hope Dom heals soon. I think it was a really good opening segment. It's kind of nice getting the world title at the beginning instead of in like the end of the show or like somewhere in the middle. We don't really get it there anymore anymore. So I enjoyed it. But then absolutely, we move on to our World Tag Team Championship match, our first ever match for the World Tag Team titles. With Awesome Truth, that would be the Miz and R-Truth, defending against DIY, Tommaso Ciampa, and Johnny Gargano. Or what was it they were called, Wesley?
It was Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. Well,
to be fair, the Gargano thing is like whatever. It's just the emphasis is whatever. The Ciampa thing, that's a little more.
It'd be like hearing some Giovanni Vinci, like. Listen, y'all, I'm not saying a whole lot. Love our announcer over in Raw. It's a fantastic time. I was just like, this isn't NXT Black and Gold, eh? But no, we get this tag match, right? We get DIY versus Awesome Truth. So firstly, I loved this match, but it's also just because every time I watch R-Truth wrestle, my inability for my mind to grasp how old he is while he's wrestling always happens. There's like some moment in the match where I'm like, wait, this guy's pushing 50. This guy's 50. What 52. Is going on?
He's 52.
This man's 52.
Yeah.
How can he? And every time he blows me away. This was no different. Absolutely loved the match. But of course, we saw that.
Well, hold on. Let me give my thoughts before we talk about the ending, because the ending's important. But we do need to talk about the actual match. Great matches, as you said. A couple of things that caught my eye. There was this really cool tag spot where, like, I think it was Ciampa got Miz, like, turned around, tagged in Gargano. Miz turns around right into the slingshot spear. Love seeing that. But also, Miz and R-Truth may have just created my new favorite tag finish in this company. Because, one, calling it the truth-crushing finale is mint. But two, combining the pay dirt with the skull-crushing finale is a great combination. It flows really well together, and it looks devastating as hell. So good on both of you for working this out, because I am so sick of these tag teams using the same 5 finishes all the time.
Fair.
Like some combination of a DDT plus whatever, I'm sick of it. But like this was great. But the ending, which we do need to talk about, Awesome Truth does retain the tag belts, which not what a lot of people were calling online. A lot of people thought Awesome Truth were dropping the tag belts this week. I'm happy they didn't, because I think it's going to give them more time to establish these belts and keep the new lineage, or the same lineage, but the new designs up. But the ending was really interesting, because you get Johnny Gargano and Ciampa, they're licking their wounds a little bit. Gargano's still recovering from that finish. And then this really cool moment happens. You want to talk about it?
Yeah. So I mean, we're getting our traditional face versus face ending, where everyone's sharing some hugs and some hand raising. You know how it is. You know the vibes. But Tommaso does not join in the celebration. I think maybe that Triple H heel inside of him was having some stirrings or something, but something bothered Tommaso. Where and you imagine it might be the loss, but he just walked out. He slipped under the ring, and that was it.
You know, we lost so many tag teams lately. We cannot lose DIY too. Um, Maybe that's just me and my perception of it, but like we're probably going to be losing Alpha Academy soon, and we've already lost another tag team that we're going to talk about in a little bit. So like I I cannot deal with a DIY breakup right now. These two need to get back on the same page. Uh if they do have a breakup, I want this to be a blood feud as it should be, but I don't want it to happen yet. Give it time, let them simmer. Um but now I feel like, do you think we're going to be going on different paths now? Because I mean, DIY had their title match, they lost clean. Awesome Truth have a plethora of tag teams. The draft is next week. Like, there's a lot well, this week actually, which we'll talk about more at the draft at the end of the episode. So stay tuned for that. Um, but I'm really curious as to where both of these teams go from here, because I don't think that Awesome Truth didn't lose the belts this week. Don't know who they're going to lose them to if it's anyone in the short term. And then DIY, I mean, they lost their title match again. So where do they go from here? I hope it's not a breakup. Are we on the same
Yeah,
page on that, or what do you think?
it's a good question. It's kind of a shame because if we do see them break up, I just don't know where they would go in their singles careers currently. I was kind of hoping to see DIY stay a little longer, even more than like Awesome Truth. I was one of those people who I'm like, oh, Awesome Truth, they're going to be transitional champions. No, we don't live in the Vince era anymore. We have to look at those transitional champions. That's kind of almost a figment of the past, a little bit, right? And so,
Mhm.
looking at DIY, the draft is coming up. They could split them on the draft. They could do some type of blood feud, but we've kind of already seen Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa enough for me. So I would also just like to see them get on the same page, work out whatever issue is going on with Tommaso, and maybe try to get them some tag gold. But even if they stay together, as you just mentioned, tag gold isn't in their really present future. So I don't know what they're going to do, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see it.
To counter the point about you've seen that matchup enough, there is never enough singles matches between you, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa. For me, that's like saying, hey, you want to see another match between Dolph Ziggler and Kofi Kingston? I'm never going to turn it down. But um, I hope that they don't do it yet. I feel like there's more mileage out of this team. Um, and I don't think they're gonna split up. I don't want them to turn heel either. I think we need to take some time and just let them do their thing and see where this goes. Because for all we know, this could lead to Tommaso coming back and be like, "Look, I was just frustrated. I'm sorry," and like refocus. And Tommaso be like, "Look, I'm not. I'm still gonna be a good person, but I'm not gonna shake their hands after I just beat us." Like, that's the kind of vibe I want from him. Hopefully, but we'll see where this goes. Um, so after this match, great match, Awesome Truth Retain, backstage with Damian Priest and JD McDonough, where Priest is kind of admonishing JD McDonough like he's a small child, um, which
Yeah, I
I
mean,
was
I
here
would
for.
go a step further even. I've been saying this for anyone who's first time watching, and I will continue to say this. But El Campeon, Damian Priest is now, in my opinion, in his tyrant Damian Priest era. We get a solid chewing out of, oh, this isn't Judgment Day business. You're gonna handle your business,
Hmm.
and I'll handle mine.
Yeah. Uh,
Okay, Damian.
it was. I mean, we talked about it last week too with that promo he had cut on Finn and on Dom and on JD last week, which we should also mention Finn not on this week. He did just resign with the company on a long-term like a big money long-term deal that just got announced last week. But he is taking the week off. as is Cody Rhodes, which it's weird not having Cody Rhodes on Raw, but I was kind of okay with that, honestly. But you then have Dominic come up. He's wearing that arm brace, and Santos Escobar is there. And he's like, look, Santos is taking my place in this tag match this week. He's returning the favor from Mania. I already talked to Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce. They cleared it. Everything's fine. And Priest is like pissed. And to me, people that keep on saying that Priest is going to be the one that turns to heel, I feel like the rest of Judgment Day might turn face. And like Priest is going to turn face. I think it might be the rest of Judgment Day. Because right now, like, Dominic didn't really do anything in this segment that was particularly, like, heelish to me. And I mean, granted, in the match, definitely you can say that because we're going to talk about that match much later in this episode. But Dominic kind of said, like, look, he's just helping us out. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. And I was kind of like, I kind of want to see a face Dominic Mysterio run, but like, kind of like a dopey Dominic Mysterio face run. Like,
So,
I kind of want that. I don't
I
want
don't
that
know.
right now. Not in the near future, but like maybe like a year or two down the line, if his heel stuff starts getting stale, I wouldn't mind seeing it.
Yeah, and we'll see. I think we're a long ways off of a heel or face turn, or however you want to consider the Judgment Day, because there's always the classic story of heels turning on heels. Like that's a very common, getting eaten up.
We'll get there.
Oh, yeah,
we'll get there.
We're gonna get there. And so I think that something very similar could happen for the Judgment Day in this case. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Tyrant Damian Priest, because he's getting pretty high on his britches. I will say that, and you can only fly so far. But I will thank the WWE. WWE, I was not extremely happy to see Santos Escobar, in his place in Mania, and the whole Damian and everything of it all. I wasn't extremely satisfied with Dominic and Santos, and that could have been a better match. But we are keeping congruency and consistency in our story. I do appreciate that it's kind of trying to come full circle, and I do appreciate that. So that was pretty awesome. The segment was fine, though, right? We're getting to see more of Tyrant Priest, which we'll see more of a little later on. But
yeah,
it was a good segment.
It was great. So after that, we get the return of Gunther. He hasn't been seen since Mania. I have missed him dearly. I love my guy. And he comes out, and the first thing he says is, people are going to expect me to say a lot of things about Sami Zayn. I'm not going to say anything about Sami Zayn. And he declares that he's entering the King of the Ring. He's winning King of the Ring. There's no way he's losing this tournament. Like, McIntyre's going to get screwed. Gunther's going to win this tournament. I can't wait. But Gunther says, I'm winning King of the Ring, and then after that, I'm going to win any championship that I want. And I'm like, please, save us, Gunther. And then Kobe and Xavier come out, and basically Xavier reminds us, hey, I was the last King of the Ring. You are a pretender to my throne. Step back. And I don't know if this is just me or if this is anyone else, but if I get a final in this tournament of Xavier Woods versus Gunther, I will not be mad.
Yeah, no, I would enjoy it quite a bit as well. New Day is funny. New Day, every time they're on screen, especially now that they've been getting to, I guess, appear a little bit more, I felt like it meshed very well. I felt like we were at peak New Day again, which I haven't felt as much. And regarding a little earlier with Gunther and where his aspirations are, when he says he enters King of the Ring, I do have to agree with you. He isn't saying he enters. He's saying, I win King of the Ring. It's kind of like whatever belt he decides to chase. He hasn't told me that he's pursuing a championship. He is telling me that is his next incoming reign. Like, it's crazy to think about Gunther's spot. I really hope the WWE delivers. It doesn't have to be right now, but I would like to see some more gold on Gunther soon. I know we just got Gunther off the gold, and so we're gonna have to wait. But whatever belt he does pursue after he wins King of the Ring, we'll see what happens. But I think it was really cool to see Gunther's dominance, and then of course we lock right into the kind of the We haven't had a match in a while. There was a lot of promos after promos after promos. Now we get a match because Gunther says, "All right, Stooges, deal with these two." And then I love New Day's response. We fought these guys, but you know what? We'll do it. You know,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
we've beaten the daylights out of these people, but you know what? If you're trying to step up, we're never going to step down. And so we
I
get some action.
appreciated it because I feel like back in the day, back like 2 years ago, if the same segment would have happened, it wouldn't have been acknowledged that these two had a pretty big feud like 3 months ago. Um, but it was nice to see, and it was also nice to see New Day win because, dear Lord, I need New Day to surge up the tag ranks again. I have missed seeing Xavier and Kofi having gold around their waist. I know they just won the NXT tag titles like a year ago. Not enough for me. Not enough for me at all. This is one of the best tag teams of all time. We need to stop acting like they aren't anymore. Like I need them back on top of the card. I need like 200 day New Day tag title run now. Uh, so they win it with up, up, down, down. Um, very good match. It's another one of those things of like if you put Imperium and New Day in the ring together, they're gonna have a good match. Like it was great across the board. Um, but the interesting stuff happened after to me. So Gunther is sitting ringside. He's sitting beside commentary, not on commentary. Grabs and throws his chair that he was sitting in. Looks at so Giovanni Vinci took the pin. That is important. So Gunther walks out. He looks disgusted. He is mad. And Ludwig Kaiser goes back in the ring and he's like comforting Gio. And I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe Gunther's gonna be a face now, and like Imperium might go into like a tweener, maybe a face direction, which would be really cool. I think it would have been really interesting, but no, not happening. Not anymore. They get out of the ring. Giovanni's like limping, and Ludwig looks at him, grabs him around the neck, and throws him into the ring skirt, the LED board ring skirt, and then beats the crap out of him. Holy crap. Ludwig Kaiser, you are now a made man on this main roster, let me tell you. It was insane. I loved every second of this. What did you think about it, Wes?
Yeah, no more tag team.
Mm-hmm.
No more. And I'm actually curious to everyone watching, give us a comment on if you saw this coming, because I'll be honest, it was the moment that he went back in the ring and gave him a kiss on the forehead. That was a kiss of death. That is a signed, sealed, and delivered turn immediately. I'm like, this is the last time. There's no way. And I'm so happy to see that Gio is out of here. Not for Gio's sake, but because we might get to see some singles Ludwig action.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be insane. Ludwig's really talented, so getting to see him have his own presence, and maybe we'll get a new person. And what is Giovanni Vinci going to do? Is he going to like maybe feud with Ludwig Kaiser, or are we going to see some like interim Imperium feuding? I don't know, but I loved it.
So, a couple of things that I'm getting out of this. One, I expect Ludwig Kaiser to be the Intercontinental Champion within a year. And maybe that's just me, but like low key, this is the first time I've ever gotten this from him. Ludwig Kaiser was kind of giving me like old school Rene Dupree energy a little bit, like right when he was starting to break out before Cena buried him. And like I don't want that to happen to Ludwig Kaiser, but I want him and Gunther to split by like Survivor Series. I want them all three to be on their own. I think Giovanni's going to go back down to NXT for a little bit. Draft is literally this week. I think it would make a lot of sense. But also Ludwig getting a singles run, being have these two fight at Mania for the IC title and have Ludwig win. Like I know Gunther's not the champ anymore, but you could have Ludwig win the belt like before that. I think you could really cement him as a potentially strong babyface character, and I don't know if that's something people want right now. But I think with the proper storytelling between now and like Survivor Series, it's definitely a possibility that it could happen. And also Ludwig Kaiser is just so good in the ring, and also Tiffany Stratton is a very lucky woman because that man is attractive as hell. But He's also swearing at him in German this entire segment, which was really cool.
Yeah, I was definitely going to say I don't see the face Ludwig Kaiser anytime soon, but I'm very excited for some heel action for Ludwig after that absolutely absolute guttural beatdown on Gio. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So Giovanni out. Do we think it's like a permanent thing? Because I remember a while back, like when Gunther first came on the main roster, after Ludwig would lose matches, Gunther would beat the crap out of him, and then he'd be back in the group the next week. So do we think Giovanni is actually gone, or do we think this is just another, hey, no more weakness, you are not allowed to lose anymore kind of thing? Because knowing Imperium, to me, it felt a little more final than that, especially the running, like the around the ring knee into the steel steps thing, like. But that was just my take on it.
Yeah, I'll be completely honest. I would be shocked if Gio returns to Imperium. I don't know why, but I got that energy coming off of Ludwig. And yeah, after the steel steps, I think he's going to be out for a while. Mm-hmm. They're going to try to sell that just injures people.
Yeah.
And so I don't think he'll be back. And then when he comes back, I don't think it'll be as a part of Imperium. So we'll see.
Well, I am going to ask you one more question because you did mention it. Do you think there is someone new who could join Imperium after this? I will tell you right now, there is one name that I have seen online, and if that is the case, I will be a little mad because I don't see a reason for it right now. That name, of course, being Ilya Dragunov. But I definitely think there are options here, but I don't know if we need anybody right now. I think it's definitely something that could happen later, but just not immediately.
Yeah, I agree. And the only way that I could see Ilya, because if we're going to talk about it, we're going to talk about it. The only way I'm seeing Ilya join Imperium, if it's almost like a Daniel Bryan Wyatt family situation, where you are seeing like the group join up, but then there's tension all the time within the group. And I would almost say that Ilya would then have to try to rival Gunther as the head of Imperium, win or loss. And maybe that's how you could finally get maybe like a Gunther face turn or something like that. But again, I don't think we need to put Ilya anywhere in like faction territory. Although we are getting like so much faction action in WWE right now. Like just
good rhyme. I'm here for it. Yeah, So we get a little promo from Andrade. It was fine. It was fine.
Andrade is he's looking great, and on top of looking great, I'm believing it. I'm starting to feel that hesitancy of like.
You believe in what? You believe in who?
I believe in Andrade. Okay.
What about Joe Hendry?
No, we're not getting into TNA right now. Although, if you want that, let us know.
I believe in Joe Hendry.
No, Andrade is great, and yeah, his promo is like, this is an Andrade promo. This is what was kind of looking like. We've seen a couple now. We got to get how Andrade feels. Of course, he's not going to join the Judgment Day. Shocker there. Of course, we know kind of why he did it. He doesn't want to be a stooge to anybody, not like before or earlier in his career. I want to see his WWE run be really, really eventful. And we'll see, because I think that we're going to have to see all of these Latin factions and these faction wars kind of get bumped up past like the mid card to be able to see Andrade as anything, unless he's going to rise above all the factions and really stand out. But either way, Andrade's looking good. But we can move because we get
Drew McIntyre.
Yeah. Who comes down to the ring, gets in his CM Punk pose, or should I say now the Drew McIntyre pose?
No, it's still the CM Punk pose.
he is owning that pose. That's all I'm saying. And we get him starting to do his Drew whinging that we know we're going to get.
Importantly, though, he does say he's entering King of the Ring. And to me, that's going to be somebody who I think people are going to need to keep their eyes on. He is not winning that tournament. He cannot win that tournament.
His chances were over the moment that Gunther said he'd be a part of the match.
Correct. Gunther is okay, the only way I see Gunther losing King of the Ring is if they have like Xavier or Ilya win it and start this descent into madness with Gunther like losing in these clutch situations lately. But like even then, I don't think it's what should happen. I think Gunther should win. But off topic. McIntyre's not winning this tournament. I don't even think he's making the final. I think he's just gonna lose outright because of CM Punk. But Drew comes out, starts cutting this promo, and then my guy Sheamus comes out. No more stupid intro before written in my face. It's just written in my face again. High fives all the way around for that one, just for the record. Thank you. So Sheamus comes out, and he dresses Drew down. Says, "Look, fella, I've known you for 20 years. But for the past 4, all you can talk about is how you got screwed at WrestleMania. And you finally fixed that. And it was your fault that you lost. You got your ass beat by a CM Punk with one arm." And I'm like, ooh, ooh.
Yeah,
And then,
I mean, listen, he mentioned, right? He mentioned that they have had banger after banger after banger together. It was a great promo, but I have never seen Shamo get so destroyed for directly after he's done dressing Drew McIntyre down. He says, yeah, we used to have banger after banger after banger, but it's looking more like to me that you've been having burger after burger after burger. Oh my gosh. Going down probably as one of my favorite promos ever in WWE. Oh my gosh.
I will tell you right now, that was my single least favorite part of this entire promo.
No.
No. Okay, my opinion. Okay, it felt so stupid, right? Because Sheamus's critique was valid and important, right? It was like a friend saying, "Hey, dude, I'm looking out for you. If you want to get that belt back, you need to let go of this man and stop focusing on the internet people and our stupid T-shirt, and just focus on your career. Because when you were doing that, guess what? You won the World Heavyweight title. You did it. You got back to the top of the mountain, and you're the one that screwed it up." And then Drew, I mean, granted, I don't think it was a bad promo. I think the line makes sense for the context of Drew being like, well, you're fat now, right? Like, Sheamus is right. Obviously, Sheamus is right. And Drew doesn't really know how to respond to that, and we get that. But to me, it was like, we just had to deal with the entire online discourse around Sheamus this week being like 5 or 6 wrestling pundits saying Sheamus looked out of shape, and everyone else on the internet saying, nah, he looks great, shut up. And then we go right back into this, and I was like, y'all, can we just not? Can we just not?
Okay.
Because it reminds me.
Brooke, let's be real.
Hold on. It reminds me, not to the same extent, but it does remind me of like 2009 Piggy James a little bit. It reminds me of like the Vicky Guerrero fat jokes a little bit. I do not want this to become a regular thing on programming anymore. Keep it to this one segment and we're chill. But if it happens repetitively for the next like 3 or 4 weeks, and this is all people are talking about Sheamus about, I'm going to be sick of it. And I'm already kind of sick of it. And I don't want it to keep being a recurring thing. Because I find it to be, 1, outdated, but 2, kind of tasteless.
Okay, but let's be real. It being discussed on Twitter, low-key, sorry people on Twitter, but you don't matter, and you're not ready to hear that, but you don't. Being discussed on Twitter isn't really like it being a part of the ring, it being a part, like being addressed by the WWE. I feel like this was a good way to put it in a heel voice. You know, the heel is saying this. So it's like, if the heel is saying this and it's like, well, now CM or Sheamus gets to address it, and he does. You know, it's like he's injured, and then he gets to clap back at Drew. I feel like it did need addressing because, you know, like Sheamus is coming back, and low key, it's because Raw took him early. You know, he wasn't supposed to come back just yet, and they kind of pushed him into Raw, which I'm very happy about, but he wasn't entirely ring ready, both rusty and shape-wise. But it's been addressed now. So, yeah, it doesn't have to be like the new Sheamus is fat motif or anything, but I'm glad that they addressed it. Because if it's only being addressed on Twitter, then Twitter's going to take it and run.
I will say, Sheamus himself did address it on Twitter. I do follow Sheamus on Twitter. Sheamus did address it himself. He said, look, I wasn't supposed to come back to the draft. They called me back 2 weeks early. I haven't been to the gym lately. Straight up. And to me, I was like, okay, fair. But, like, again, it's something that has also become a recurring pattern for a few of the other, like, bigger superstars on the roster. Because I remember when Nia Jax was first coming up to the main roster, there was a lot of negative discourse around her weight. A few years ago, there was some other things talking about Otis when he came on the main roster. And again, I understand that most WWE wrestlers have a traditionally fit look and a traditionally fit physique, but it does get on my nerves when this is the recurring pattern, because we've also seen shit about people talking about Kevin Owens like this for years, and it will continue to happen, and it has continued to happen. So, like, these overweight wrestlers, as long as they're doing a good job in the ring, I don't care. Just let them wrestle and stop talking about it online, you awful people. But moving on past that, McIntyre basically says what he said. Says that Sheamus is, no one else likes him in the locker room but Drew. I don't know the severity of that statement, but sure. And Drew says he's going to watch his back at ringside while Sheamus has a match against Nakamura, which, yes, please. More, please. So Nakamura comes out. Great match. Just insane stuff.
Yeah, it was good. There was a world maybe where I feel like if the stakes were higher, this could have been a better match. But for Sheamus' second match coming back, he was still shaking off some of the ring rust. And we've talked about this before, but when there isn't title gold on the line, sometimes Shinsuke can be, taking
Lazy?
it a little easy. Yeah, just take it a little easy. That's a little easy, which, what, this is a match on Raw. I fully understand. Still a great match. We get to see some kneecap in action. We get to see a lot of Sheamus' offense, maybe for the people who had never seen him before, for our new watchers of WWE, and, for the veterans, getting to see some of his new and old classic moves. Very happy to see that. I'm glad to see a bro kick finish. It's a shame for fans,
Yeah, and also specifically, I loved the way where he did the kneecap this week. Because it wasn't right before he did the bro kick. It was just on the apron, slips the knee pad down, right knee straight to the face. Great positioning, great stuff. Keep it up. Just throw it out there sometimes. It's great. Sheamus does get the win here. I want Nakamura to get a better push. Please let Nakamura win matches.
It's kind of like Asuka, though, where I love Asuka and I love Nakamura, but it just seems that the WWE's their favorite thing to do is feed Asian wrestlers to the machine. I'd like that to stop, but I'm not expecting it to stop anytime soon. But we'll see.
Let's tell facts here. One of those two people has gold around the waist right now, and it is not Shinsuke Nakamura. So let Nakamura win a match, please. Thank you. That is all I ask. So then we go backstage. We get a recap of what happened during and after the Intercontinental Championship match last week with Chad Gable and Sami Zayn. Sami basically says, I have a lot of things on my mind, but I'm just going to wait and hear what Chad has to say. I'm hurt. I feel betrayed. But at the end of the day, see what he has to say about it. Then Bronson Reed shows up. Says, don't worry about Chad Gable. You need to be worried about me. And then kicks the crap out of Sami Zayn. Not where I want this direction to go right now. I'll be honest. Maybe that's just me. But, like, meh.
I mean, listen, this is since NXT, I feel like this is one of Bronson's first really big opportunities. We saw a little tease at it. I know you weren't very thrilled then. Now we're getting more of a confirmation, so I understand if you're still not entirely pleased with it. But I think that Bronson can offer a lot, and if the promo work isn't going to sell us the match, I feel like the actual match when we get it, I don't know when we'll get it, because again, Sami said whenever. So it could just be an episode of Raw. It could be after the draft somewhere else. It could even be, I don't know, Backlash. Wherever it is, I feel like Bronson and Sami are going to have a stellar match. It's just we're going to need to see a little bit more of Bronson Reed's motivations other than I am really intimidating and I want that title. Maybe. Because I feel like I get Sami. I don't know if I feel like
Mhm.
I get Bronson yet. I need to get him.
To me, it has nothing to do with Bronson Reed. It is just I want tunnel vision Sami Zayn Chad Gable. That is all I want for the next 5 months. I just want the two of them to beat the crap out of each other over and over and over again. Um, and I have no problem with Bronson Reed. I loved a lot of his work in NXT. He was a really good North American champion. Well, okay, his win was really good. Um, I want him because God, that raid was not great, but his actual win was fantastic. Had a really great feud with Gargano to win that belt too. Um, I just want Bronson Reed to develop a character beyond big, and I don't think we've had that yet. And it has nothing to do with Bronson. I will put that on booking. I think booking is partially responsible here because Bronson hasn't really got to do much, and he's been back in the company for over a year now. So we'll see where this goes. I hope it's at Backlash and Sammy wins, and then we get Chad Gable and Sami Zayn squaring off after that. Just get it out of the way. Because then we get the segment of the week for me. Chad Gable comes out with the rest of Alpha Academy in tow and explains why he did what he did to Sami Zayn. Was it entirely the promo I wanted? No. But I still think it worked and it served a really functional purpose.
I mean, what can you say? But thank you, WWE.
Mm-hmm.
I want Chad Gable to get respect.
Mm-hmm.
There is no way that Chad Gable is going to gain respect while still being with the silly losers in Alpha Academy. All right, listen.
Don't do that to them.
Listen,
It's right, but don't do that to them.
Listen, I can't say anything that Chad Gable didn't. He already said everything. And you know what? I am so excited to see Chad Gable go his own way. I'm very excited also to see what's going to happen to the Alpha Academy without his presence, because we're already starting to see it, because Chad's like, get on board or get out. I don't know how long that lovable, huggable Otis is going to be able to, deal with Chad. Maybe we're going to see over the next couple months Otis trying to reason with Chad, but I think it's over. I think that the Chad we had before is dead. And I'm hoping, actually, unlike you, who you want to see, them go at it, and I get that back and forth for 5 months. I'm thinking that we're going to get to see some separation between Sammy and Chad. And Sammy is going to be doing his title defenses against Bronson Reed, the other people who are going to challenge him. And then Chad is going to be going his own way and really getting this Master Gable persona, this just absolutely the perk Gable. We're going to get to see some premium heel heat Chad, and then they're going to bring them back together for maybe like a SummerSlam, or eventually we're going to get to see this beef settled. But I think that we need some time to build Chad as a threat, as a capable threat, and actually get Chad some wins after wins after wins, and the same thing for Sammy. They just need to build each other up.
Yeah.
And we'll see where that goes.
I see where you're coming from. To me, the hardest line of this entire thing is what he said to Tozawa, where he says, "You come out here, you do your dance, and you get loss after loss after loss." And I'm sitting there, I'm like, he's kind of spitting, because what he said to Maxine was she was dumb. I mean, sure, I guess, but that's not really the character she's been portraying. So I didn't like totally vibe with that. And then he just said Otis was a disappointment, but in what way? Like, y'all are multiple time tag champs together. He's won Money in the Bank. Like, I kind of wanted more there. But when he was talking to Tozawa, I was like, oh, okay. This is where we're going with this. But the actual roasting of Alpha Academy was not the important part of this promo to me. The important part of this promo for me was when he looked at all of them and says, Alpha Academy is now focused on Chad Gable. We are going to get my Intercontinental Championship no matter what. I want all of you to say it. And then he makes Otis say it into the microphone and then walks out of the ring. Yes, please. Yes. This is exactly what I need from heel Chad Gable. You also did get a little bit of that "it should have been me" promo that you wanted, because Chad did kind of slip into that for a little bit. I honestly think Chad Gable may be about to be the top heel on Raw very shortly. And by that, I don't mean like the heel running the show. I mean, he will be the best heel on Raw or SmackDown or wherever they take him. Uh, he's insane. I love this man. Please let him keep going up the card because he's great.
Yep. He's finally starting to give me just a little bit, like one more shade of, coming out in that nice suit, being that typical heel man. That certain Olympian came to the back of my mind, especially his work in TNA. You know what I mean? I don't know. Were you feeling that a little bit too? Where it's like that aura starting to shift?
Yeah, I could definitely feel the perks coming in. And I hope that this is something we get long term.
Sure.
And I don't mean, because I don't think he's going to be changing his character anytime soon. But I want Chad, and I've been saying it for years. I think Chad Gable is one of the most underrated people in this entire company. He can have a good match with anyone, and we have seen him do it time and time and time again. Let him be a world champion in the next 3 years, you cowards. Just let him do it. Let him have that belt. But we must move on because we do have a little bit more stuff to talk about. So Ricochet and Dominic encountering each other backstage. Dominic kind of being a little bit like, you are so lucky that I'm injured because I wanted to beat you up tonight, Ricochet. And it was so cheesy, but I love heel Dominic. It's so funny. Yeah. Ricochet's like, no one is more upset about you being injured than me because I was so ready to kick your ass tonight. That part was fine. The part that got me peaked and had my interest was when Liv Morgan and Dominic have a bit of a stare down.
Yeah, for 2 seconds.
I was not ready for that in the moment. I was like, oh, what is this? Okay, I'm here for it.
Yeah, and we don't get any more from that, really. Yet, of course. But of course, we've already seen a couple times. Hopefully, they'll capitalize on this, where they show a segment of like, hey, maybe some underhanded things might happen in the Judgment Day, or like, oh, this person's gone to the Judgment Day, and they're looking, they're talking, and then nothing really comes of it. So I'd like to maybe see something come of it. Mm-hmm. Although, I also have to point out, Ricochet, a little bit of personality, maybe? Just a little something there.
He's getting there.
He's getting there. Every time Ricochet says something more than like nothing, I'm so excited. So I was very happy to see Ricochet get a speaking role in any part of Raw. So I did enjoy the segment, but it is just so funny to watch Dominic attempt to be threatening.
Yeah. And I mean, very shortly, we could be looking at Ricochet being the first Speed champion. Yes. Because, he is in the semifinals of that tournament. He is facing JD McDonough this Wednesday to get into the finals of that bracket. I hope he wins just based off of who is left in this bracket, because Gargano is still in the bracket, and like, I don't know if Gargano needs a singles title right now. At least not this singles championship.
And let's be honest, it ain't going to be JD.
Yeah, it's not going to be JD. And then last person in this tournament right now. Who's the last person in this tournament? I'm trying to remember. Bronson Reed, I think, is the last person left in this tournament. So I think all of these people are I'm pretty sure we're going to get Bronson Reed Ricochet in the final. I don't want Bronson Reed to win because I think he could have a better program for maybe the U.S. title. But, besides the point, we'll see where that turns out. But this Liv and Dominic stuff, I got my eyes on it. I got my eye on it. I'm not going to call anything yet. But what I will say is that I am at least intrigued.
I see. Well, we'll see. I feel like maybe it was kind of a little bit of a cheap pop because it's just like, oh, the boyfriend of the person I injured, we'll see. Hopefully it actually does go anywhere, but we'll see, It was 2 seconds. I can't get too excited over 2 seconds. I got to keep my, keep it a little bit reserved, but
you got to keep your expectations down.
Exactly. I got to keep those expectations down. So,
But then we move on to our penultimate match of the evening, which is Santos and JD McDonough taking on Ricochet and Andrade. It was good. We kind of figured we'd be getting this. We thought it'd be Dominic instead of Santos, and it probably was supposed to be until Dominic got injured. But it was a good match. right team won. I'm not mad at it. They did rename Andrade's finisher. It is now the Shadow instead of the Message. Uh, I liked the first name better, but this is fine too.
Listen, it's the move's cool. The
The move
move's
is
cool,
cool.
right?
The move
And
is cool.
I could watch Andrade hit like 17 of those in one match, and I would be very appreciative. Just not on the same person, of course, but like very happy with Andrade and his packaging and his dominant aura and his winning. I'm happy to watch Ricochet get some winning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to watch Ricochet win, but
After
I can't have Santos
mm-hmm.
be a Dominic Mysterio replacement. Thankfully, he didn't get pinned.
Yeah.
Thankfully, JD, I love you, brother, but you can keep getting pinned because Santos can't be getting pinned. Not on my watch. I want to see Santos do some winning. So I need Dominic Mysterio to hurry back. That way he can be taking these stooge losses instead of Santos. But yeah, no, I mean, after that, you were alluding to something, weren't you?
Yeah, so Ricochet and Andrade win clean, even after some Dominic interference. And then Damian Priest shows up, throws Andrade into the ring post, boots the crap out of Ricochet, hits Ricochet with a Razor's Edge, drops Andrade with South of Heaven, and just walks out. And I'm like, yeah, he's in charge now.
And there is one very, very small but important thing that he does say. You have to remember, he looks back to JD and he looks back to Dominic and he says, "You need me, I don't need you."
Mm-hmm.
It's over. Tyrant he's here. He's here to stay, and I don't think that he even is thinking about Judgment Day anymore. It's so obvious. He is thinking that he is the man, and I think he's getting a little bit tired of JD and Dom just losing. Let's see what happens when Finn comes back, because of course, maybe he's respected Finn a little bit more than the other two. So we'll have to see how he's going to treat Finn. If Finn's going to struggle and then he's going to get mad at the entire Judgment Day. Mm-hmm. But whatever's going to happen, we are in a new era.
Yeah. I definitely loved every single bit of this. I think it was really cool. But I mean, are we shocked? No, not really. So we do got to talk about the last portion of this episode. It was very interesting to me going in. The Women's World Championship Battle Royal. So backstage, getting some interviews done, started trying to interview Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. Then there's a brawl between Nia Jax and Liv Morgan that is broken up by officials. Then Becky Lynch comes into frame, takes the microphone, starts walking towards Gorilla, cutting a promo. She stops, looks at Maxine Dupree, and says, "This is your first world title match, right?" And Maxine's like, "Mm-hmm." And Becky's like, make sure they remember it so they believe it when you have your next one, right? I was like, okay, I'm here for that. I'm here for this Becky. I'm here for this specific aspect of Becky Lynch. Then Becky walks out through Gorilla straight into the entrances for the Battle Royal. Something that was really interesting to me, I'm not going to talk about the actual match yet, but a lot of the matches happened during the break. A lot of the entrances happened during the break. The people that they usually save for the entrances during when the show comes back are the people that they want you to think about in this match. So Liv Morgan got one, obviously. Nia Jax got one, obviously. Becky had gotten hers before the break. And then Kaden Carter and Katana Chance got one, which was weird. I wasn't mad at it because their theme's fun, but I was really confused.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a little strange. Also, I do have to agree with you, by the way, that I am here for, I'm going to call it the everyday man, Becky Lynch the man. Just I felt like that Becky, who was walking us back in Gorilla, feels like she could crack open a beer, just talk to the fans as just another person. And I actually kind of prefer the low-key persona. And also, I mean, we have to talk about these backstage Gorilla entrances. They are
So
cool,
cool.
aren't they?
They're so cool.
They're
I
awesome.
like that they are not doing them all the time. Because I don't think we've gotten one since Mania, and I'm happy about that. We don't need to get them all the time. Just let people come out and do their thing. And if you throw it in every now and then, it's going to make them feel special. It's going to make them feel unique, and it's really cool. The new production that's taken over since Kevin Dunn, I don't know if he left or aspired or whatever, but the new production team has done some really cool updates to the show that kind of felt samey after a while. No, it did feel samey after a while. So I really love this new production direction that's happened these last like 5 or 6 months. So let's talk about it. The Women's World Title Battle Royal. 12 women in this match. Let's see if I can get all of them. So you had Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell, Katana Chance, Caden Carter, Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler, Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch, Nia Jax. Let's see, who am I forgetting? I'm forgetting 3 people. Natalia, Chelsea Green, Piper Niven. Got them all. Bang. Okay. So those 12 women, basically every woman on Raw, with 2 exceptions, those being Nikki Cross, not sure where she's at, and Tegan Knox, not sure where she's at either. At least of the active people on Raw, as we know, 2 of them are currently still on maternity leave, which neither of them came back, which was, I mean, I didn't expect either of them to show up like fully, but it would have been nice to see at least like Carmella show up.
Yeah, I mean, in a battle royal, it would be pretty cool if like they came back and like, oh, are they gonna win the world title? They're coming back off of a long hiatus. Maybe they're gonna bring in this new energy or whatever. But
well, they're
right.
saving Alexa Bliss. They're saving Alexa Bliss. They're not saving Carmella. It would have been nice to see her. At least we don't know if they're saving Carmella, but we know pretty certain they're saving Alexa Bliss. So the match starts. It's a battle royal. I mean, a lot of the action is not going to be something that we could really talk about. Maxine eliminates Candice and Indy, which is great for her. Has this really cool spot with Nia, where Nia ultimately eliminates Maxine. Really cool stuff there. Becky eliminates Piper Niven, right? Piper pulls Becky out of the ring, beats her up, dumps her on the announce table. Then Nia Jax, kind of like Uranagi's Piper onto Becky. Table doesn't break. Samoan drops her onto the table. Table doesn't break. And in all this chaos, Natalia dumps Chelsea Green out of the ring. But all the referees are paying attention to that. So Chelsea just like hops back onto the apron. None of the referees saw it. And he gets back into the ring, which I was like, that's big brain right there. Good job, Chelsea.
Can't be mad.
Yeah, I can't be mad. So our final 3 in this match were the 3 people kind of figured would be the final 3. Nia Jax, Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch. Big scrap here. Some really cool stuff. I love the spot that they did where Liv went for the code breaker on Nia, and Nia like did her big strong woman shtick, and then Becky came up from behind, dropped her with a neck breaker. So Liv gets hit with a neck breaker, and Nia gets hit with the code breaker. Really cool stuff.
It was almost very, very cool. Nia didn't remember to go forward, and so it was kind of like a what hit you breaker, and not much of really a code breaker. But
People
watch.
People
it
watch.
Is what it is. It's fine. No, but I mean, it was also, I have to say, WWE, thanks for having Battle Royal. Like, I know we get Royal Rumble. That's big, and that's why you can't do them all the time. But there are other promotions that do more Battle Royals on average. Like, we see a Battle Royal like once a month. We get to see these types of Battle Royals. I was excited for it. And we got to see a lot of women compete in Raw. It's fun to be able to get to watch the entire roster effectively of women get TV time.
This is also, Michael Cole said it on commentary at the beginning of the match, only the 4th time a world championship has ever been decided in a battle royal.
Which is pretty
only the 2nd time it's been a women's championship. The first one was Gail Kim, and that was 20 years ago, which, fun fact, that was Gail Kim's debut. And she also, her last match in the company was also a battle royal. So fun stuff there. But I got to talk about the ending. So Liv and Becky kind of work together at some point and get Nia out. Mostly Becky doing most of the heavy lifting there, I will admit. And then we get, in my opinion, a huge missed opportunity. And I will go into detail as to why. Becky wins the match. Becky is your new women's world champion. I'll let you talk about it, then I'll rant.
Okay, for sure. So yeah, no, I mean, if anyone didn't expect these being the final three, these are obviously the final three. Becky, Nia, and Liv are going to be the people contending for the women's title scene, period. And so I was excited to see the three. I kind of had this feeling that Nia wasn't going to win. I don't know really why, but usually when it comes to like these super dominant, forces of nature like Nia's portraying, that's always like, well, you need at least two people to eliminate them, and we've got the two here. And of course, we've already kind of seen. I thought maybe it would even be Liv Nia, because they were leading towards their feud. But that's not what we got. Nia was eliminated, and it went down to Becky and Liv. And the entire match is going through. They are gassed, and you can see it. They've gone through this entire battle royal. They're throwing out the entire arsenal. Of course, they get to the outside of the ring. They're on the apron. Blow, 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 blow. Attempted oblivion. Disaster.
Yeah, I will say also, Becky, if you're going to hit the manhandle slam on the apron, I am not going to tell you how to do your crap, but like maybe a little bit more follow through next time, because it was kind of just like a and not like a you know what I mean?
Yeah, it definitely felt like the gas was, like the entire battle royal had gotten there. And I'm actually curious if anyone noticed, because there was a small thing that I noticed.
That Becky didn't go over the top rope and went over the middle rope.
Yes. So Becky went over and through the middle rope. So I totally thought they were going to do a double elimination spot, but Becky didn't go over the top rope. And I was like, oh, this is going to be so awesome.
See, what I thought was going to happen was that Liv was going to eliminate Becky, right? And then she's going to be celebrating, doesn't go back in the ring, hops down to the arena floor, and then Becky wins that way. Which I think would have been a lot more compelling than the mess we got. I'll be 100. But may I rant, or would you like to give your thoughts on the win first? Because I will give that decision to you. I may rant. Okay, great.
Yep. It is time.
So, my big takeaway from this match is not the winner, as of now. Last night it was, because I was in my feelings, and I was hurting about it, because I'm tired of Liv Morgan being the runner-up 24/7. But there was a sign in the crowd that was displayed through most of Raw last night, but it was really prominently displayed on camera several times. And it was a guy in the middle, like third row back on the side facing the hard camera, and it said, "More women's titles." Right? When I saw that sign, I was like, one, thank you. Someone brought a sign that says that to the event. But two, please. I am so sick and tired of this, okay? Because Becky is now a 7-time women's champion. I've made it clear before, I'm kind of tired of Becky I'm very tired of Becky having championships all the time. She's getting into Charlotte territory for me, where it seems like she can't exist without either being hovering around the title picture or just having a championship. And it just bothers me that that's where we're at with her, because I don't think Becky should be that. That's not where her character started. I don't feel like that's where her character should be at right now, but that's just where we're at. The thing that makes me angry is that in the past 3 years, right? The past 3 years, calendar years, since WrestleMania 38, right? No, sorry, WrestleMania 37, we have had 3 people become women's champions for the first time. 3. One of them was at that event. So if you took that event out, you would take Bianca Belair would be taken out of the equation. So those 2 people are Liv Morgan, who won won Money in the Bank, cashed in and became world champion for the first time. 4 people, because Nikki Cross. So Nikki Cross, who held the belt for a month, has now been nowhere near world title contention ever since. Liv Morgan, who held the belt 3 months, at least had a reign, but it was very much bookended by Ronda Rousey. We can all agree on that. Io Sky, who actually had a pretty solid reign with the belt, I'll give her that. And then Bianca Belair, who, let's be honest, it's Bianca Belair. She is the outlier to anything, much less in this particular discussion. Every single other reign in that time period has been Ronda Rousey, has been Charlotte Flair, has been Becky Lynch. It's been the same people over and over and over again. Um, and sure, the women have the tag belts now. They've had them for a while, okay? We don't care about those belts, and we're not going to care until the tag division gets built up. We're finally starting to get to that point where, like, competent teams like Katana and Kaden and Piper and Chelsea are still sticking together, and the Kabuki Warriors are existing. Alba and Isla are still around. Like, those teams are all here, but we don't have anything else for the women that are lower on the card, right? Because there are people who are doing really cool character work. Like Candice LeRae has been having a really cool like month and a half on TV lately. But you know, and I know that she's not getting anywhere near a world title anytime soon.
Right.
And it's a bummer because she's been doing really great work and really solid work that should be rewarded. You look over on SmackDown, you could be saying the same thing about a lot of other people too. Namely, in this particular stance, Naomi, who has been having a really good time back in the company since she came back. But let's be honest, she's probably not winning the women's title anytime soon because there's not a storyline for her there, right? There's not any way to easily get her to that point, barring major championship changes. And to me, that's painful, right? Because something that we've heard for so long is that these talent just need to grab the brass ring and make themselves undeniable, right? Liv did that. She has been doing that for 2 years. She is one of the most over women in the company, consistently a top 3 women's merch seller across the board, and has one of the most rabid fan bases in the industry. Let's be honest. I am part of that fan base, but I'm not like the people that are on. Oh, also, quick note. If you're one of the people on Twitter that are sending hate and death threats to Becky Lynch, you are part of the problem, not part of the solution, for the record. Let's get that on the record. I may not be happy with this, but you don't need to take it out on, one, the performer who had no impact over this decision, and 2, don't take it out on anyone because it's a TV product. State your opinion, be mad, be frustrated, but it's no one's fault. Let's be clear. Where was I? Oh, yeah. We are at a point in time where there are so many women who don't get the opportunity to grab the brass ring. Ever. And what happens to those women? Well, it happened to Xia Li this week. They get released from their contract. And I don't want to say, oh, Xia Li is an example of what happens when you don't get the women opportunities. It kind of is, sadly. But we've seen it time and time again over the years. Plenty of women have been let go from this company because they're directionless, because creative doesn't have anything for them, because there's nothing for the women to win outside of world championships and a tag belt that they don't care about booking properly. To me, what's the point in people like Xia Li being on their roster? I get what they're saying. I don't think they should have released her. I think she's incredibly talented. But at this point, there's nothing for the women to fight for outside of world titles. And you have people like Candice LeRae, and people like Maxine Dupree, and people like Natalia, and people like Carmella, and over on SmackDown, I hate saying it, people like Naomi, and people like Dakota Kai, who are not in world title contention right now. And it will take a long time for them to be in world title contention, outside of a Money in the Bank win. What are they supposed to do when you're not giving them TV time to have feuds, except for very rare exceptions like Candice LeRae right now, or they're just getting thrown on main event, or if they're lucky, getting to go have matches in NXT. A lot of these women are just working house shows. And it happens to the guys too. I mean, look, we lost all of Indashir, including Jinder Mahal. We lost Cameron Grimes today, as of recording. But we also lost Zion Quinn, who are all people that have been on the main roster for over a year and just didn't get enough time to show themselves because they haven't been on TV. The men, however, have 6 championships to consistently fight for. 2 world titles, U.S. Intercontinental, and both tag belts that they can have feuds over. And they get feuds that are outside of those championships. They don't always have to have title feuds. The women had 3 matches at WrestleMania this year. And a lot of the reason that 3rd match even existed was to get Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Asuka on the card. Let's be honest. It baffles me that we are at this point that, we've been talking about it for a while, that the women are getting more opportunities. I don't think they are. I want them to get more than what they are getting. I want the women to have championships that they can fight for that aren't just the 2 world titles and the tag belts. Give me a U.S. women's title. Give me an Intercontinental women's title. They deserve it. Put one on each show. I don't care if people are like, oh, they're not going to book it. They will. If they have the belts, they have to. Okay? Don't look at the tag belts as an example. The reason the tag division is not working is not for lack of booking the tag champs. It's because they don't have any established women's tag teams. That's the problem. And we're finally getting to a point where that's being fixed. Let these women have opportunities to raise and elevate their stock, and then maybe we won't have to go back to the Becky Lynch well every time there's an injury. Maybe we won't have to go back to the Charlotte Flair well every time we want to have a new champion on the show. Because I saw a tweet today, about 2 hours before we recorded, they said, y'all talking about the women's revolution, all I'm seeing is the 4 horsewomen winning championships all the time. And I think they're right. I have no problems with Bayley holding the belt. I'm a little irritated that Becky has the belt, but I'm not, like, mad. It just baffles me that we are still depending on this. That we are supposed to be elevating these women, and a lot of them just aren't getting the opportunities to do that. Rant over. That is my feelings. I hope things change soon. That is all.
Yep, and well, there you have it. And that was the product, Raw in total. We have a new women's champion. We have a lot of continued feuds. We have a couple staples maybe having a change or being broken. So a whole lot has changed, right? And a lot will continue to change, including over on NXT and SmackDown. So a lot of changes coming in for the new era of the WWE. Of course, we'd like to see you all stay tuned and keep up with all these new changes. If you'd like to do that, please give us a subscribe. Consider giving us a like. You know, it's good for the algorithm and all that nonsense. We'd really appreciate your support. And of course, as well, be looking out for our draft coming up, because we'll be having an excellent and amazing draft of our own here at the Cup, just like you would see the draft over on the product of the wrestlers that we care about and we like. We at the Raw Take will be having our own draft selections, just like on Laying the SmackDown, and of course, our developing show for NXT, our developmental developing show. You know how it is. But
yeah. And keep your eyes open for next week, because next week will be the second half of the draft that we're going to be covering here on Raw Take. First half is going to be covered on Laying the SmackDown with Amy and Lana Saturday. So keep your eyes out for both of those shows. NXT will be back with you soon. I think they record Wednesday now. So keep your eyes out for all of that. And of course, like Wes mentioned, that fantasy draft, you're getting a lot more than just some draft coverage this time, everybody. We have, you got an announcement from Lana and Amy on Friday, but we're going to give you a little bit more info now, which is we're picking third, which you already knew in the first round, but 10 rounds, 30 draft picks altogether. Everybody's going to get a chance to build the best show that they possibly can for themselves, for Raw, for us, for SmackDown, for Amy and Lana, for NXT, for Lewis and Donovan. We're really going to see who's going to be able to build the best show, and keep your eyes out for that, because it will be dropping before SmackDown this week. So keep your eyes open for that.
Yep. Let us know also, if there's anything else you want. We mentioned TNA, we mentioned other stuff. We're going to have more stuff available, more stuff coming to you from the Cup Ringside, and glad that you could join us. And we will be signing off.
Everybody, and if you guys want to buy your merch, go to laundrycreations.etsy.com for Cup Mug and other Cup products. Give us a sub, punch that notification bell, and yeah, everybody, cheers.
Ooh.
Cheers. Well, bye now.